Carl, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you so much, Justin. It's great to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I'm really excited to dive into your journey, some of the changes you've made with Beachbody, now Body, and some other changes as well. But I'm always obsessed with the origin story. Like, how did it all start, right? Obviously, you co-founded Beachbody and have grown it to a massively large organization. But how did the whole thing start? How did you even come up with this idea of I'm going to start selling workouts? And originally, you started with CDs.
Is that really the interesting story? But okay, we'll go there. So, but let's keep it short because I think it's kind of boring now. But because everything's changed, it's like how did the wheel happen? But look, I had created a program called 8 Minute Abs in like '94, and just because I was getting fat and I didn't like my body, and I'm like, I got to do something. And this idea of just spending 10 minutes a day in place of doing nothing was appealing. So I created this with a former company that I was with, and that was a big home run, got in the zeitgeist and was mentioned in movies and on late night talk shows. And I said to my partner at the time, "Hey, I think this idea of creating content to help people who either don't have the time or the money for a personal trainer to follow along a program." And he said, "Well, no, let's." He wanted to go in a different direction, so sold my interest in that company, and eventually, a couple of years later, founded what became known as Beachbody, now known as Body, which we'll get into. But it basically was the premise was I am not a person who enjoys the gym. I don't feel welcome there. I feel like, you're seeing people walk around, they're comfortable, they get on the machines, and I always feel like I need to ask everybody permission. I don't know, maybe it's some childhood trauma, but I never feel like I'm welcome there, no matter how much I'm spending. And then even if I did feel welcome, let's say there's nobody else in the room, I don't really know what I'm doing. So this idea of creating programming that would lead you through a concept step by step, not for the rest of your life, but just give me something, let me follow along something, 21 days, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And I know I can stay focused for that long, and that gives me a goal. And the first real significant program that we did was with Tony Horton called Power 90, which, the whole essence of Power 90 was, um, if everybody's busy. So for 90 days, I'm going to do a Power 90 where I'm going to give it everything I got. I'm going to eat right. I'm going to work out. And I got this incredible transformation. And that's been the theme, the variations on the theme, whether it's with fitness or nutrition or even supplements, trying to break it down for the people who aren't naturally inclined to live this way, to try to figure out how to squeeze it into, half hour, 20 minutes a day, a few times a week. And that's how at 60 years old, I've managed to stay in pretty good shape.
I love it. And when you started, like you said, you started with Tony Horton, who is a household name at this point. You've then gone on to work with Joel Freeman and Shaun T and Shailene Johnson and all these other people that have become household names. Is there a science behind how you find these trainers? Like, how do you go about finding these people that, really attach themselves to somebody even through a screen?
Um, we've gotten really lucky, I would say, with the people that we found. And there's been maybe a handful that didn't go the way we had hoped, but in general, we've gotten very lucky. But I would say that the magic happens by the essence of the program. So we don't start with the trainer, we start with the program, and what problem are we trying to solve? Then we fit that problem and solution with somebody who's uniquely qualified. So that sort of becomes sort of a natural, like if you're casting a movie, if you're casting a mafia movie, you want De Niro and Pacino, So when we're casting, like right now, we're in the middle of launching a program called Belle Vital, which is a women's hormone health program. Well, you want to do that it comes from somebody who had the problem and invested hundreds and hundreds of hours in and money in investigating the issue of women's hormone health. And that woman is Autumn Calabrese. And she put this program together, which is hard to believe because a lot of women have issues with hormones. So I'm not talking about perimenopause and menopause. I'm just talking about insulin resistance, cortisol response, and so on, which can lead to so much suffering, stubborn weight, night flashes, cold sweats, low libido, and brain fog. So Autumn had this problem that she was solving for herself. And she said, I think this could really be a meaningful program. And then it's our job as a company to say, okay, let's look at the science. Is she coming at it from the right place that can be meaningful? We test it. And then to make it really special, like a P90X or an Insanity or a 21-day fix, we want to make a creative environment that the prospective customer goes, oh, that's the one that's going to work for me. So Belle Vitale, like we tested this thing with 40, I think it was 42 women, 12-week program, fitness, nutrition, supplements, and stress reduction. And in 26 years of running this business, I have never seen results like this. But it all comes from the seed of Autumn having the problem, looking for a solution, and then being vigilant and passionate about putting a solution together. Once that gets to the screen and into a full program, as long as you're making quality decisions and trying to raise up the level of quality that people experience, you're guaranteed to have a home run. So there's the formula.
No, I love it. And so obviously a big part of this is marketing, sales, getting the word out there. You started infomercials with 8-minute abs. And I believe that's how Beachbody was launched too, was through infomercials and all those things in between. Like, talk a little bit about the idea of marketing now where infomercials aren't as popular. People aren't watching late night television. They're streaming, they're doing all those types of things. Like, how were you able to kind of shift and grow as the world changed? Because you guys went to full streaming instead of the DVD services and all that stuff. What did that look like as far as growing the business?
Well, that was a big change. So really around 2017, 2018, it really started to shift. The problem didn't go away, meaning overweight people struggling, didn't want to go to the gym, didn't know how to put together a full system and integrated of fitness and nutrition. But the medium to tell a full story evaporated with the end of infomercials. Luckily, we had put together an ecosystem called Team Beachbody, which was a multi-level marketing business, a network marketing business. But not because we were enamored of the business model. In fact, it's an incredibly flawed business model and in many cases toxic. But that's the way the infomercials were when we got into them. Like, if you've got a quality product and you've got a good mission, the business model can be fixed. So basically what our network marketing did, Team Beachbody, was turned our super users, our most loyal, passionate customers, into a megaphone, and they would share in whatever income was created, which is kind of fair, right? So, like, I don't know, Justin, if you've ever had a transformation of any kind, but when somebody loses 40, 50 pounds, we've had people lose 200 pounds. When that happens and they walk into a room, they become the center of attention. So that was the premise. If these people are going to do this hard work of lifestyle transformation, doing the hard thing, not starving themselves, but these days they don't have to use a pharmaceutical, like lifestyle change. If they do that and achieve these kind of results and then create demand, they deserve a piece of the action. So that really exploded the business. That's what took us to, $1.4 billion in sales, and made us an incredibly profitable company. And that offset the end of the infomercial. Unfortunately, after the pandemic, network marketing also faded very fast.
Mm.
And the criticism of the model, we couldn't outrun or outperform criticism of the model. So literally, we are right now in the process of transitioning to an affiliate model. Same premise. Customer deserves to get paid when they create demand. But instead of a multi-level marketing where if I make a sale here, a piece of it goes up line. Now, if I make a sale here for my hard work to lose 100 pounds, I get 100% of the commission. And we think that's actually going to be a game changer and something that really changes the face of fitness and nutrition, because now there's 170 million people in the US alone who are overweight or obese, have a sort of a Uber opportunity, right? They've got this this gig economy opportunity to be like, hey, I got to do something for my health. Why not monetize that at the same time? So this is when you're in business for 26 years, like we have been. You have to reinvent yourself. You can't sit on your hands. The world is going to change around you. So the question is the mission still relevant? The mission is more relevant than ever. It's our job to make sure that we are communicating the solution to the problems within the mission as enthusiastically and passionately as ever.
Yeah, and what you're saying is so true, right? When you think about multi-level marketing, yes, it can help to grow, but it can also create a negative vibe, right? There's so many MLMs now. There's so many people jumping in. They do it for 3 months and then they're in the next one, they're in the next one. And all of a sudden, this is like this gross thing that we're starting to create. But you guys did it so successfully for so long and have created a really solid income for a lot of people while they were doing it. Was there backlash within the community when you guys decided to make this? I'm sure it wasn't an easy decision.
Yeah, very difficult decision. But and yes, there was significant, still is significant backlash. I mean, you're talking about 17 or so years of people building a business as a multi-level business. And it's just probably the hardest transition I've been through in my career. But for 2.5 years, we have watched this business be in a constant state of contraction. And with a mission to help people achieve their goals and lead healthy, fulfilling lives, there is no friggin' way that any of us, including our network marketers, want to fight so hard for network marketing that we are willing to forego the mission of helping more people to preserve that business model. So we had to make a hard choice. Frankly, I think that the construct of affiliate marketing is going to be more scalable, and with some of the things that that for people to put together subscription support groups to be able to make more money by helping people get results, and now they don't have to spend any of their time recruiting teams. I think actually the financial opportunity is bigger than ever. It's going to take a lot of work. It's going to be a painful transition for a lot of people who are making a lot of money. But I also am pretty certain that that business model, which was making people a lot of money, was going to go out of business. Like that model is just not going to survive because there are too many flaws in it. It's too opaque. People don't understand the comp plan of how these things pay. And that complexity does not serve a business model that you want to have scale with multiple people. So in this process, there's going to be people who reject the business because it hurts for change. There's going to be, I think, millions more that embrace the business because now it doesn't have these hangnails. And again, with total conviction to helping people for real who struggle, we're going to help tens of millions of more people because of the simplicity of this new model.
I love that. And I love you guys sticking to what is our mission, what's our message, and how do we lean further into that as the world evolves and changes. And you've done it so many times, including rebranding the whole entire company. Now, to this day, I'm sure still many people are calling it Beachbody, but you have renamed the organization to Bodi. Let's talk a little bit about that thought process, because that wasn't even that long ago. Like, you're dealing with these changes rapidly.
Yeah.
What was that like, and why'd you make that decision?
Um, well, Beachbody served us well, and it's a fun name. Like, I'm super proud of it. But it's also extremely limiting. It's limiting because it connotes the physical outcome more than the overall health benefits, which are the most powerful benefits. So if you want a beach body, you can get there in 90 days. You want a healthy body that will serve you into your 80s, that's going to take some long-term commitment. So we didn't feel like the Beachbody name really represented the overall mission. And it was also very limiting because, like, we have a partnership now with the American Diabetes Association. There's 130 million diabetic or pre-diabetic people in the US. It would make no sense for that partnership to happen under the brand Beachbody, but the brand Bodi, spelled Bodi, is perfect for it. And I'll also say, likewise, you know how you can, the internet can sort of search for terms whenever there's a hit against a term. So I would search, I always have this search on for Beachbody to see not just what our posts are, but what are people saying about the brand. And more often than I would like, it was the term Beachbody was being used to either represent an ideal or judge a celebrity that goes to the beach. Oh, there she is. She thinks she's got a beach body, kind of thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it had this ideal connotation that was just creating noise around what we want to achieve as a business. So we had this acronym, Beachbody On Demand Interactive. That was the digital platform, Beachbody On Demand Interactive. And we were lucky enough to have bought Bodi.com. Can you imagine starting a business in the late in 2019 with a 4-letter URL that spells something? That's really very unique, right? Like, you got meta.com kind of thing. So we just said, look, we're playing for scale, and we're playing for the long game. And like, I want this company to be around for 100 years, 200 years, helping people. So this was the right choice, but not easy. And but ultimately going to have the right outcome, and that's going to be real scale.
Did you see Beachbody getting this big when you launched it? Did you see yourself still in it? Because, like you said, you did the Aim at Abs for a short run and moved on. Like, now you're 60 years old and you're running this business at the highest level. You're doing over $1 billion a year. That couldn't have been the vision. Maybe it was.
Yeah. No. I would love it, but and we're not there now because of the contraction. I think we will get there, but things have contracted to the point that it's a big setback. But I can remember being in meetings at the beginning, talking to investors. We had a little group of investors, and I was like, if we sell 100 of these products for $100, and because we were being told by the industry, nobody wants to see people doing hard work. They don't want to see them doing push-ups and squats and sweating. You got to make it look easy. And I was like, well, I would never buy something that looked easy if I wanted to get a real transformation, because I know that's not going to work. Like these equipment, these thigh masters, squeeze it between your thighs, and all of a sudden your body's going to change, right? So I said, if I have this reaction to these too good to be true solutions, there's got to be a million other people. So I thought, 1 million people, $100, that's $100 million. Maybe we could be a $100 million company. And when we crossed through 100 million, crossed through 300 million, 500 million, when we got to 1 billion, my mind was blown. Like, we were one of those unicorns, they call them.
Yeah.
And we peaked at 1.4. But what's funny about it, Justin, is I still feel now, based on the problem and what I've seen, how I've seen the model works, I don't think we have achieved 10% of what we are supposed to, what is our obligation to achieve. This needs to be a 10 to $20 billion company based on the problem out there. Like, if you think about the Wegovy Ozempic craze, right? They're looking at a $200 billion, $300 billion opportunity. There is no other company positioned with a complement of or a catalog of solutions better positioned to serve those people, because they all need lifestyle change. They need protein, they need nutrition, and they need to lift, and they need to work out. There is no company better positioned to serve that $200 to $300 billion industry than Bodi. Not one in the world. And we will be the company that serves that. Plus the tens, if not hundreds of millions of people worldwide who just want to do lifestyle transformation from project to project, program to program. We are that company. And that's the whole point of this turnaround effort, and being patient, watching cash, watching the business model. But the opportunity is 100 times bigger than it was when we first visualized that we someday might make $100 million.
Yeah, it's wild. And so I wanted to ask you about the whole GLP-1 craze and all these drugs that people are taking. When you first started seeing, I mean, it's been around for a long time, but it's really become super popular like a year or two ago, maybe 3 years ago. What was your first take when you saw that? Was it like, oh, that's the easy route? Or was it like, how do we embrace this community right off the bat?
No, of course, I'm sort of wired to distrust a gimmick or a shortcut. So I just don't believe in magic pills. But then I started to do some research into it, and the background of it could be really helpful to people, particularly suffering from the consequences of diabetes. So which I think is the genesis of it, or the evolution came from helping diabetics cope with the disease, and hopefully make it so that overall they are healthier. But then it started to become, this weight loss fascination, which is kind of fine. It can help people get unstuck. But the big problem is people lose so much lean muscle. Like the body is basically starving in some ways, or it's tricking itself into starving. And it's going to eat up a lot of muscle for energy. And that is devastating to the metabolism and your overall well-being. Certainly as you age, like losing muscle as you age is devastating to your well-being. So I would say it was about a year and a half ago that we said, this is not only an imperative for us to work alongside these pharmaceuticals, but it's a huge opportunity for us, because it's so attractive for people to get these sort of automatic results from these shots and pills. But if they don't do the work on the back end and find something that is really reliable and proven to help them build and retain muscle and eat in a way that serves this complex machine in here, they're going to be in trouble. So that's what we are. So it's a big opportunity for us. Like literally, there's no other fitness company that checks all the boxes that we do and appeals to people who don't love exercise. Like the reason that people love what we do is because it's project oriented. I'm going to do this 21-day program. I'm going to do this 60-day program. And you always have a goal. You always have a plan and a goal. It might be different. It might not always be to lose weight. It might be to build your agility, your mobility, your stamina, but you're always in a program, and it feels incredibly gratifying to finish a program. So that's what we bring to the table, even in the midst of a multi-billion-dollar industry like weight loss pharmaceuticals. And I think we're going to be more important than ever.
Your episode of my show is actually back-to-back weeks with the doctor who oversees clinics that does GLP-1 and testosterone. And I had this conversation with him, like, what about all these horrible things that are happening with people using the drugs? And we talked about how it needs to be the training of how to properly eat, make sure you're lifting weights, make sure you're doing those types of things. And you're right, you guys are the perfect, for lack of a better term, companion to people needing to use those drugs or choosing to use those drugs, that say, hey, yes, you can use this, but here's a solution to make sure it doesn't hurt you long term, right? So what is the future of Beachbody, right? Like you'd already mentioned, you're 60 years old in great shape. I imagine you're looking for longevity. Is that something you guys are going to tackle in the future as far as helping people even who are even older? Like, what's the future of Body?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you corrected yourself, because Beachbody is dead.
I know.
Body.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
No, I get it. I get it. And it was such a good name, and it's so fun that it's difficult not to just go for that gratifying name. But that's an important step, and that is the future of Body. Like I said, we've achieved 100th of who we're supposed to reach. It doesn't need a dramatic breakthrough in technology or even content, although we've got some content that's going to blow people's minds. Like literally the best work of my career is coming out over the course of the next 36 months. Belle Vitale, coming out in December, is probably the most beautiful and well-constructed program we've ever put together. From a longevity perspective, women are going to get such incredible results in their first week and then their first month, and be so blown away by what they achieve in 12 weeks, they will tap into something that will be a lifetime of benefit for them. We will bring more supplements to appropriately help people with their health and what we call supplement-assisted exercise. We will expand the catalog to include what people enjoy, maybe working with apparel companies and shoe companies, so that we are outfitting people for this process of life and staying healthy and being comfortable in your own skin. But I think ultimately it'll always come down to staying creative, making content that when people put it on their screen, they feel connected to it, which is really goes back to one of your first questions. And that is the people that you're training with, are they communicating through that screen, which is a real art form? Are they communicating in a way that you like them, you're getting value from them, and you want to come back tomorrow? And that is not something I've ever seen anybody do as well as this company does, and is something that we have to continue to perfect and bring the next great talent along, which, we're constantly in the process of identifying. So I think it's going to be variations on the theme. Probably we're going to do more live events where we regionally get people together for workouts and celebrate what they're doing, celebrate their wins, and hopefully scale this affiliate program. So we've got millions of people who are getting paid to broadcast their own experience and attract more people to join us and be a part of this community.
I love it. So I want to ask you a question that I ask every guest on this show. It's a two-part question. The first part is, what is your definition of success? And the second part is, what are 3 things you do every single day to ensure that success for yourself?
Sheesh. My definition of success. I would say my definition is a life that is fulfilled, meaning it's fun, rich, meaning the experience of life is enriching, and creating. So now, obviously, it's important to have some financial success with that. That's what sort of measure things. But eventually, like I'm not a collector of things. Like I'm not a, hey, what can I own kind of person.
Same. Yep.
But I'm more of a, what can I create? What problems can I solve? So what 3 things do I do? Probably one of the most important is that before I get out of bed, I spend time thinking about what I'm grateful for and what my goals are and how I can attack the hardest things toward those goals first. And then I'll sort of lump my health all together, meaning I have a routine that's not every day, but a routine that includes cold plunge, um, my Shakeology, which is this superfood nutrition shake. I'm not a big vegetable person, so like I pack this thing, put spinach in there, banana, coconut oil, and all these what we call boosts, get the fiber and everything. And I build that to be my breakfast, get my workout in, and now I've checked the box for health. And then I'm going to go about the business in a way that is incredibly focused and ambitious. So those are my three things. Yeah, those are my three things.
I love it. You've been doing this a really, really long time, and I'd love to know how somebody, at your level stays motivated every single day to continue to create, continue to pursue the next level, to continue to recreate the thing that you've already built to success. What keeps you motivated?
Well, really all the things that I just to create and continue to grow and reach more people. If you really focus, like I'm a Think and Grow Rich person. Like I love this book by
Yeah.
Napoleon Hill. And so I'm constantly working on stoking the fire of my definite purpose of helping people achieve their goals and lead healthy, fulfilling lives. Okay. So if I'm stoking that fire, regardless of what the stock price is or what the balance sheet is, that's what I've got to do. Like and there's no doubt about it. Every day is I wake up with that. So there is no motivation. It is what I do. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not hard at times, but to have that definiteness of purpose expects it to be hard. Like you just expect it. It's everything, something. What if you're trying to do anything, it's going to be hard. So if motivation is, if you expect motivation, I think that's a problem for people. You've got to have absolute determination and resilience that quit is not even, it's not even a part of your vocabulary. So, I suppose at some point I'm supposed to think about retirement or something like that. People have asked me, hey, if you didn't have this company, what would you do? And I can't even answer that question. Like, I don't know. I don't have a backup plan. Like I'm doing this and I'm doing this. If it happened to, if we didn't make the important changes and it's kept contracting, what are you going to do now? I'm going to keep doing this and I'm going to keep doing, and I'm going to find a way to figure this riddle out. It's been a 26-year process. I know more about figuring out this riddle than anybody on the planet because I've been living it in a way that I don't want to say desperation, but desperately wants to reach hundreds of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of people. And to do that, I can't rely on motivation and I can't think of anything else. And anything that might slow me down or distract me, that's what I've got to be disciplined about removing that from my field of view. So I don't know how better to answer it than that. I don't think it's a good answer for you or what you were intended, but that's the way I approach the day.
No, it was a great answer because I think, motivation, they always say, is like a shower, right? You need it every day, which means when you're determined, it's immediately built into you to be motivated to move forward. I think it's an absolutely phenomenal answer that you said. I'd love to know, because you've built something nobody's ever built in this world before. Who do you look for guidance to help lead you to help you work through problems? Or do you have certain people in your corner that help you through all this?
Yeah, I've got a great board of directors that are super helpful. The executive chairman of the company, he's a turnaround expert named Mark Goldston. He's been fantastic to work with. Not easy, but fantastic, which is great, right? And then I would say I read the books that almost make the authors of those books, mostly biographies, a part of my inner dialogue. The Warren Buffett's, Steve Jobs, um, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk's, people who are bigger than life and have the ability to bend the universe to their will. I just follow, success leaves, as they say, footprints. So that's what I look to. So I've got a good group.
Elon's biography was a wild ride.
Sure
I
was,
was
right?
like,
And you could not, like to read that, you cannot imagine that success and resilience will not be without incredible suffering, not just pain, but I'm talking suffering.
yeah,
And I don't know that I could even suffer as much as he has or is, but it just shows you that the amount of absolute um, uh, threshold of pain that you've got to be able to endure, because you got to solve problems that nobody else in your business can solve, that are too painful for other people to solve. So whoever has the ability to hang in there with the heat is the one who gets to win, because this is not going to be an easy problem to solve. So yeah, these kind of books of people who have walked through fire and managed to survive, that's when I go, oh, it's been hard, but ain't been that hard. So I'm going to keep going.
I love it, man. So I wrap up every single interview with the same question, but before we get there, how do people find you online? How can they start working with Bodi, get their transformation and start earning affiliate with you guys? What's all the good stuff?
Okay. Well, the most important thing is bodi.com. And at the bottom of the page is a link to join the affiliate program or investigate that a little bit. I'm just, you know, I'm at Carl Daikeler on Instagram. Uh, I've investigated TikTok. I think I have 160 followers. Um, but that's a hobby. But really, body.com is where it's at. And otherwise, if you want to watch an old guy embarrass himself on social media, it's probably at Carl Daikeler on Instagram.
I love it. I love it. Like I said, I wrap up every single interview with the same question. Since the show is called The Growth Now Movement, that question is, in your life, what has been your biggest moment of growth?
You got to warn a guy. I'm I'm gonna say that there's not just one, but I will say that the moments of growth have all been when after careful, thoughtful contemplation, when I had the courage to make the really hard and uncertain decisions, that's when the breakthroughs happened. Um, Starting this company, creating P90X, and that took 2 years to turn that into an overnight success. Even
Wow.
people in the company were questioning me, and but I felt that was going to go the right direction. Launching the network, and now pivoting the network. These are the big decisions, but from these big decisions come major breakthroughs. And it's the people, look, it's the people who are slow to recognize reality and respond to it, who end up being cautionary tales. And so my big moments have been when I had the courage to look at reality, respond to it, and then go all in. And that's what we're doing right now.
I love it, man. Carl, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your journey with my audience. This has been great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Justin. It's been great.